course. Welcome everybody. Welcome BTC community, XRP community, Ethereum community, DLT community, crypto community, all the communities out there. What is up everybody? Johnny Morales in the house. How you doing, Johnny Morales? We got Tiny Papa, Texas Crypto. Appreciate the Blue Crew tuning in. How's it going everybody? Guys, thanks so much for showing up to another DLT news stream. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Thanks to the 9 viewers. Thanks for the 3 likes, guys. How's it going, everyone? Welcome. So, guys, a little preview we got for today's news. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Regulation will only boost mass institutional buying and selling, BitPay COO says. IGT gets regulatory approval to use Bitcoin and cryptos at slot machines. Bitcoin PayPal volumes cross $100 million, and Iranian authorities close 1,600 illegal cryptocurrency mining farms, says report. And of course, guys, I mean, are you guys enjoying the gains you've been seeing in the crypto markets as of late? I woke up in the middle of the night getting alerts from my XLM bag, and I was like, oh my gosh, and I couldn't go back to sleep. I had to keep checking it. It was only getting higher and higher every time I looked back. Then XRP started picking up some steam, and XRP went up to 28 cents, and I got so crazy excited. I was like, yes, man, both of them are going to freaking kill it. And, you know, they're still killing it. They're still doing pretty well. We got a breakout, at least, with XRP, which is a good sign. It is wicking a good amount, but if we can still stay outside of this triangle with a significant amount of volume, it's only 2.83, but at least it's been picking up. It was around what, 1.3 1.2 earlier, so we're at least seeing a little bit of an uptick in terms of volume. But of course we have that regulatory scrutiny, you know, this whole thing with the SEC. Who knows? XRP is kind of going in its own directions now because of that whole lawsuit, right? If we're expecting that this market is not manipulated and is just running off speculation, that's what it seems like. The speculation is taking it, right? But still making some gains there on the past 24 hours, but obviously not as much as, wow, what Stellar did overnight was really amazing. I mean, it went up At one point, the 24-hour was at 100%, and I think Stellar was at 35 cents or something. But great to see that. And then Nano. Wow, I'm happy I bought some Nano. It just jumped. It blew past $1 in the past month and a half. So Nano's definitely picking up some steam. One of those cryptos that's just all about fast value transfer, free fast value transfer. What's up to everybody? Thanks for the 6 likes, y'all. So let's get into the first piece of news. Yeah, I mean, these are out of the cryptos I'm interested at least, but in the past 24 hours, you got Stellar, Nano, Matic. Matic, apparently some big things coming from Matic. Who knows, maybe a Coinbase listing. But 3 cents for Matic definitely seems like it hasn't joined the party just yet. Gridcoin, I'm keeping an eye on. It definitely has some high fluctuations for sure. It's a utility coin, and apparently, if it is what it is, it's connected to some really big institutions for Gridcoin. ADA. What else do we got? IOTA. IOTA's starting to wake. Oh, the one that's starting to wake up. I certainly hope so. We need to see it break past 4 cents to confirm, but I think maybe it already has. HBAR. HBAR is one I'm keeping eye out for right there. By the way, guys, I'm not a pro trader, not a financial advisor. We'll never tell you what to do. What's up, everybody in the chat? Leland Evans in the house. How you doing, dude? Yeah, XLM. People definitely trying to take some really good profits right there off XLM, but wow, that was a crazy bullish run for XLM overnight. We're in interesting times, that's for sure. Alrighty, guys. So, regulation will only boost mass institutional buying and selling BitPay COO. Sony Zing says 20K is BTC's floor price and expects 45K next month. According to him, Coinbase's IPO is very, very instrumental for the market, and its numbers will blow Wall Street's minds away. $20,000 is the floor price for how far Bitcoin could go down, said Sony Zing, chief commercial officer at BitPay. As for the upside, given that his 30K target has been hit in just 20 days rather than taking over a month, with very little sell-side pressure, he sees BTC going to 40K, 45K in the next month when some pressure will be seen. Sony also predicted that this year Bitcoin will become $1 trillion currency, and the magic number for that is 54,000 roughly. At this point, he expects even governments and the Treasury Department to start buying BTC, which may sound far-fetched, but 2 years ago, corporations buying Bitcoin for the balance sheet was crazy too. Supply and demand. Talking about the current price movement in the market, Sony said Monday's 20% correction was just a minor blip in the road. It wasn't long-term fundamentals at all, rather just futures getting liquidated. What you're seeing over the last month here is supply and demand. There are a lot of institutional buyers out there, and there's very little supply. Regulatory concerns. On the regulation side, which remains a concern for outsiders, it is already happening. Governments are passing a lot of KYC AML policies on the exchange, but that really won't slow growth, said Singh. While it may slow the utility of sending Bitcoin to your friends or spending it at merchants, regulation will only help the actual mass institutional buying and selling, he said. As for the Ripple part, Singh said it is to be seen if the SEC would want to do a long, drawn-out court case or do a quick settlement, especially as the administration changes under the new president. According to Wayne Trench, chief executive officer at OSL, the main regulatory hurdles are already solved in terms of custody and clarity. The last remaining pieces are regulators globally collaborating cross-border, which is starting to happen now, said Trench, noting that industry bodies are working on collaborating across borders that we'll see play out a bit more in 2021. Singh also believes Coinbase's IPO is very, very instrumental for the market because the Wall Street, or While Wall Street loved that Square traded $1.6 billion with crypto in Q3 last year, Coinbase traded $1.5 billion on this last Saturday. The revenue numbers at Coinbase are going to blow people's minds away when Wall Street is going to really drive that stock price up. He said, and the Charles Schwab E-Trade and others won't sit back and let Coinbase have a sole market. Singh added, it's going to put a lot of media frenzy around this whole industry. Yep, it's very true. Coinbase IPO could be very big, without a doubt. What's up to the 17 viewers? Thanks for the 8 likes, y'all. How's it going, everybody? XRP Bags, what's up, man? Bagman in the chat. Good to see you, dude. XRP Tiny Papa, Crawfish, XDC. Yeah, XDC. I'm excited for that one too, man. Where can we pick up Cody? Johnny Morales, man. You can get Cody on Qcoin Exchange. I think there's some other exchanges you can get it on, like gate.io. But I know for sure you can get it on Qcoin. And then if you live outside of the US or you have like a VPN, you can just get Cody Wallet and send your Cody there and custody it there. I'm excited for Cody. I mean, one thing I learned from those Greg Kidd interviews that happened the past day, first off, Greg Kidd felt it a necessity to speak up out of nowhere. This guy, Greg Kidd, doesn't really have too much of an involvement with Ripple. I mean, I think he does have a bigger involvement than what we see publicly, but publicly it doesn't look like he has too much involvement with Ripple until he talks about it on like Link 2 or... But he's more interested in talking about like Global ID, for example, now, which I think will uphold Global ID, coin. All these things that he's touched are going to somehow interoperate with each other or be collaborators with each other, right? Because he's like the glue amongst them, right? That big investor, that big, he was like a co-CEO or co-founder for some of these, chief compliance officer for Ripple. But anyways, from his interview, he made it clear he was pretty bullish on Stellar, right? Because he brought up Stellar numerous times. He talked about Filecoin about a few times, and he said he liked the utility of Filecoin, right? And we've seen that that's part of his portfolio on Hard Yaka, along with Hedera Hashgraph, Cody, right? Solana. All three of those I'm super bullish on, let alone seeing Greg Kidd is bullish on, right? Yeah, he's got and he has a fat bag of XRP, right? So he has, this guy, his family is going to be set for generations, man. He literally has 1 billion XRP. Who knows how much XLM he has? Who knows how much Filecoin he has? Cody, HBAR, Solana. Him being a former regulator himself, I think he knows which companies are real boats and actually doing things for this space. And he mentioned Stellar. That was the first time I actually seen him talk about just Stellar by itself. And it happened to Moon. If you want to say this past pump was a moonshot, it happened to Moon 2 days after he had that interview, right? So he was probably maybe timing people like, hey, keep an eye out for these cryptos as well, you know. And he even said he's super long. That was one of the things that was a downturn from his interviews. He says he's super long on XRP. Who knows to what extent that really means, right? But he owns 1 billion of it. We know that. And if he's saying he's super long XRP, does that mean we still have to wait a good while longer? Is this thing like a really long-term plan when it comes to XRP and the shift over from the financial system? We've seen like delays in the ISO 20022 migration or the Target 2 migration for the ECB. We've seen delays in those dates set to around the end of 2022, I believe, instead of the end of 2021. Who knows if those things get accelerated now, again, because of the situation we're in. And then you also have the migration to ISO 20022, which a lot of central banks will be going over. See, I don't know if you guys have seen Max Kaiser's interview on Stransberry Research. It's this. I won't show you the video, but if you guys, I'm sure you guys know who Max Kaiser is if you're into crypto. He's a big time Bitcoin bull, right? So he says Bitcoin is going to, you're going to see banks within this year, maybe a major central bank collapse this year, right? And then you're going to see Bitcoin completely replacing fiat down the line. He has a target set of 75,000 or something for this year for Bitcoin. And then going into 2022 and beyond, more central banks will collapse and everything will be migrated to Bitcoin, right? He's a super big time Bitcoin bull. But it seems to us, knowing about ISO 20022, which I don't see Max Kaiser talking about. I don't see him talking about ISO 20022. I don't see him talking about the ECB's migration over to Target 2 systems, task group's involvement with Ripple. There's a lot of things that are going down with the central banks that maybe at first it makes it seem like they're collapsing. Maybe through the ashes, right, the phoenix rises. So maybe there's this illusion that the central banks do collapse to this system. And then all of a sudden, they have that big bang migration, right? That shift over to this quantum financial system, this ISO 20022 standard, where data, goods, and value can all be sent seamlessly in microseconds, right? Micropayments. Microdata, your identity becoming the payment, literally, biometric technology, camera scans, all this stuff. You won't even have to think about making payments anymore. They want to, that's the main emphasis with this whole thing with payments, eliminating friction, more ubiquitous payments, right? So central banks are going to have more of a relationship with the customer than ever. It's going to be direct customer value transfer within seconds. Not enough people talk about ISO 20022, and remember, Ripple is still the only company focused on DLT, on the ISO 20022 standards body. As for now, who knows, maybe they announce Stellar, maybe they announce IBM. Maybe they announce Algorand. I love what Algorand's doing. We are on the journey to $1 for Algorand. That's for sure. Crypto Squirrel, how you doing, man? Yeah, man, I'm excited for Stellar for sure, dude. Dogecoin, hey man, Dogecoin's no joke. I was talking with Crypto Mike. He likes meme coin a lot, right? And he says meme coin's a lot of fun, and like this whole NFT craze that's happening, right? And it's basically just the whole thing with this NFT craze. It's great for art, I think, more so, but when it comes to like types of tokens or stuff like that, you just start making tokens, like treating them as like art, right? Because they have a limited supply. So things like memes, super small supply, a lot of fun, a lot of fluctuations in price with a super low supply coin. And I was like, hey, why not get into the first original meme coin, Dogecoin? Because now Dogecoin maybe over time can accumulate value because there's only a certain number of Dogecoin, right? Anyways, and people are all about this like hoarding mentality, this collection mentality of getting things that have limited supply and then just trying to play out to see if they have some value in the future, right? Going good, Crypto Squirrel. Good seeing you, man. Yeah, FLR, Flare token hit. I wonder if Flare is listed on here right now. FLR? No FLR yet. Alright, let's get to the next piece of news. IGT gets regulatory approval to use Bitcoin and crypto at slot machines. The world's largest slot machines maker, International Game Technology PLC, is looking at offering cryptocurrency as a payment option on its casino games like Wheel of Fortune and Megabucks. It has been only last year that the Nevada Gaming Commission made it easier for casinos to introduce cashless systems, and now IGT has gained regulatory approval for using cashless wallets on slot machines. The company received a patent this week for the means to transfer crypto between a player's account on the gaming establishment and external crypto account, reported Bloomberg. This would allow players to move BTC and other crypto assets into their digital wallets on a slot machine through phones. Company spokesman Phil O'Shaughnessy said IGT secured the patent to bolster its industry-leading patent portfolio in anticipation of any possible future direction in regulated gaming involving cryptocurrency. So, despite what maybe US regulators are doing, the world ain't slowing down when it comes to the adoption of digital assets. And it's a clear, we're seeing that in the past day. Who knows, a lot of things change in times of uncertainty, a lot of high fluctuations, a lot of volatility. And it doesn't look like the adoption or the, bull run is going to slow down for anyone, or at least the altcoin season isn't going to be slowing down for anybody, right? The adoption of this, the algorithms, the way they're lined up as well. We did go through a multi-year winter cycle, right? It's about damn time these cryptos start to move, man. Bitcoin at 35,000, Jesus. Ethereum, it was funny, man, when I was talking to my friends about, because they ended up selling some of their BTC, right? And, one of them's pretty mad that they sold early and whatnot. And I was like, hey, it's all right. Take those profits that you did make, at least, put them into Ethereum. It's under 1,000. It's going to get over 1,000 now with Bitcoin going nuts, right? Because that's usually the pattern, right? Bitcoin goes up goes up to the moon, or jumps like 5,000 in price. It trickles down to the alts, and then the process begins again, right? XRP bags, dude. I think, okay, so remember all the uncertainty or some, even I was as well, all the uncertainty that we had about the FLR airdrop and stuff, and where are you going to hold it? Are you going to claim all of it or not? I think we're going to be benefiting massively from it, depending on how much you decided to claim with FLR, but I think we will be benefiting as XRP holders. And FLR holders. We're going to have a significant amount of that supply. And remember, they said they're going to burn the rest of the supply that isn't claimed, right? So 45 billion goes out into circulation, and whatever of that 45 billion doesn't get claimed is going to get burned. I don't imagine a lot of, I don't know, don't get me wrong. Who knows what random players in the space, like institutions, might have claimed some flare, right? But I don't imagine a lot of people really joined in on that flare airdrop, aside from people in the XRP community, perhaps. I don't know. You guys could tell me if I'm wrong, but the price did go up for a good bit because of that, right? But they burned 50 billion. XLM burned 50 billion. I made a joke. I was like, it's about time we see that 50 billion burn in XLM start to reflect in price. All right. So Iranian authorities closed 1,600 illegal cryptocurrency mining farms. Iranian authorities shut down 1,600, guys, illegal cryptocurrency mining farms that collectively used 250 megawatts of electricity over the past 18 months, per a report by Financial Tribune. A spokesperson for the state-run power company, Tavenar, whose electricity these miners reportedly use, said Tavenar is strict in dealing with unauthorized miners. Those who use subsidized power, such as unlicensed miners, will be fined as much as the loss they impose on the national grid. The illegal mining operations will be disconnected from the national power grid, and the miners will face prosecution. Damn. In July 2019, Iran became one of the first countries to recognize and license cryptocurrency mining as a legitimate industry. All cryptocurrency miners had to register with authorities by August 2020, as CoinDesk previously reported. So who knows the amount of Bitcoin these guys were bringing in? But that's a lot of mining farms, right? 1,600? Damn. So this came out today at 9:43 a.m. PST. Who knows what the effect of this will have on Bitcoin, if any, or other cryptocurrencies that were being mined or anything like that. Who knows if these Iranian farmers really had any impact on what's going on with crypto. But very interesting that the Iranian authorities stepped in and closed down so many of those mining farms. I want to go back to Texas soon. I feel you. Can't wait for that flare. Yeah. When XRP moons, FLR will moon with it. Yep. Guys, appreciate the 16 likes and the 14 viewers. What's up, everybody? Adam going up in the past hour, 3.79%. XRP up to 25 cents here. And we're looking here at XRP on the daily. We do have a breakout. Pretty healthy breakout so far. I don't like that large wick, but you can just tell there's just a lot of manipulation, especially been going on since December 29th. I mean, you could say manipulation for everything, right? But I'm just judging by the... You can just say this is a hell of a battle between buyers and sellers right now, because the size of the wicks on both sides is just... It's crazy what's going on. There's a lot of people trying to let go, a lot of people who are keeping it up. Like, I'm sure the bots are having their effect too. RPM in the chat. What's up, RPM? How you doing, dude? But man, that rise in XLM was crazy. I couldn't go to sleep last night. When I saw that and I was seeing how fast it was moving, I was like, okay. I put my phone down. And then I looked back and it was already at, like, you know, a higher number. I got this early. It was like at around 25 or 26 cents or something like that. And it just kept going up and up and up. And it was... Yeah, I've taken some profits. I'll tell you guys the truth. I've taken some profits from that XLM pump. I took about 1/5. Just 1/5. And with XRP, I just continue accumulating. Not gonna let that stuff go. Paul Spaller in the chat. What's up, Paul Spaller? How you doing, dude? But anyways, guys, yeah. You know, a lot of these cryptos rise with BTC, but which will rise with the Phoenix XRP? I mean, who knows? People would probably still make the argument the Phoenix is XLM, the Lumens. But nobody was saying XLM is dead. Nobody has been saying XLM is dead. Sure, maybe the 50 billion coin burn that they did is a symbol of like a Phoenix burning, I guess. Changing for the better good. They did change their protocol to become deflationary at that point. So not only did they burn half of their supply, they changed their protocol. So speaking of ISO 20022, it's all ISO 20022, but the amount of message flows back and forth with Nordic payments are several, where each have a relationship with a specific payment that is in unique status and requires orchestration for multiple scenarios. Nordic payments evolving. Let's check this out. Appreciate everybody tuning in. We're hanging out with the Blue Crew, the DL team. You guys are awesome. Thanks so much for tuning in. Yeah, I hear good things about polymath too. Right, XRP bags? Hey, today is Christmas for certain cultures. They're saying give me my sex right now. So Nordic payments evolving 1 year ago. Yeah, this guy talking himself up. In this work, there are multiple parallel streams to gain traction to stay on plan and reach important milestones. First, there's the go live when the new clearinghouse, ACH, that makes use of modern payment standards of ISO 20022. The work is very much in progress, and we can expect that the ACH have an official launch in the first half of 2022. The go live is an important milestone since that will mark the start of open for business, and banks can start move out from the Bangerot into a highly effective clearing that is based on real-time DNA. This brings us the second stream of making use of the new clearinghouse. Two very complex activities are related. First, banks can redefine the current bank flows processes that have been built on old legacy streams, where validations, enrichment, business, and processing rules, etc. become very different. This type of work is very time-consuming and carries risks, process flows. The new clearinghouse. I wonder if Nordic Payments has talked about Ripple before. Oh, by the way, I gotta show you guys that Ripple regulator, or that regulator conversation that Brad Garlinghouse had with the former SEC chairman across from him. Yeah, wait, where does it say? Oh, no, nothing there. Here, let me show you guys this. Yeah, I gotta look into polymath a little bit more. I know Cardano's involved with them to a good extent. I mean, shout out to ADA community as well. ADA's doing its thing. ADA's, I mean, a lot of cryptos are. If you're in crypto and you're making profits, or you're just in crypto in general, congratulations. All right, so
our guests, Joe Grunfest and Brad Garlinghouse, talk.
Okay, So let's check out who is Joe Grunfest and his background here. Let me set up the volumes.
A wallet, and now your crypto wallet gets hacked, and then what happens to you?
That's right, and there are legal issues that correspond to all these concerns, including a big legal issue that's coming up, which is, what are these cryptocurrencies legally? Are they currencies like a dollar, and should they be regulated like that? Or are they really more like securities, like a share of stock?
So we're really lucky today to have two people who understand this stuff, unlike me, to talk about it. The first of them is our colleague Joe Grunfest at the law school. Joe teaches corporate law. He teaches securities regulation. He used to be a commissioner on the Securities Exchange Commission, which is the federal government agency that regulates securities.
And our other guest is Brad Garlinghouse. Brad is the CEO of Ripple, which I think can safely be called the leading firm in this space, depending how you define the space. He's a 20-year veteran of Silicon Valley.
So one of the things, Brad, is your company introduced XRP as a cryptocurrency. Who uses it, and why do they use it rather than one of the like credit cards or a regular banking system?
So first off, thanks for having me. Great to be here. Great to be with Joe. I will correct one thing right out of the gates. Ripple did not actually issue XRP. The XRP ledger is an open source, decentralized technology, not dissimilar than Bitcoin. And some of the creators of the XRP ledger actually had been early engineers that worked on Bitcoin, and they saw some of the scalability problems that Bitcoin was likely to have, the speed, both from a energy consumption, cost, some of the other problems, and they wanted to build a better digital asset to solve some of these problems. The second thing I'll just comment on briefly is, often you'll notice I often will call these broadly digital assets and not cryptocurrencies. And this is less of a legal distinction and more of a pragmatic human distinction, that I don't think we're going to be buying coffee at Starbucks with Bitcoin or XRP anytime soon. I think we got to ask ourselves, what problem is that solving? You were talking about paying for the day spa bill and how you do that. But I think in some ways, the friction, the fiat currency, the US dollar in this case, works pretty well. And so we need to make sure it's better than that before we talk about it as a currency. I think.
Yeah, so what are the things that something like the digital assets, if you want me to call that, what are the places where digital assets are the best way of transferring wealth from one person to another?
Well, I'll talk my own book a little bit here, because Ripple is using digital assets to solve a cross-border payments problem. Some people, I'm sure, listening have had this experience, and maybe some of us have had the experience. If you're sending money across oceans, across networks, it ends up being really slow and really expensive. I make the joke, which in some ways isn't at all a joke, that if we decided we wanted to take $10,000 to London right now, the fastest way to do that would be to drive down to SFO, down 101, and fly it there. This, despite the fact that we live in a world where you can stream video from the space station, it would take 3 to 5 days to wire money to London, and the cost would be not immaterial. I was speaking with a gentleman at the World Bank not long ago, and the average remittance cost outside the G20 is 600 basis points, and that the populations can at least afford to pay those fees are the ones burdened with that.
And that's 6%, right?
Yes, 600 basis points is 6%.
Okay, and tell us.
All right, so you got a background on Joe Grunfest. You obviously got some clarification here from Brad about, once again, like he always talks about the difference between Ripple and XRP. You even see Grunfest nodding to some of the things that Brad Garlinghouse says about the distinction between XRP and Ripple. And remember, this guy, they talked about his background, saying he's a former SEC commissioner. I mean, why are these two guys even together for this interview? Why at Stanford Legal? If Ripple is a scam, why is this event even happening? Is Stanford Legal fooled by Ripple? Is Joe Grunfest fooled by Ripple? What an opportunity we have with XRP, without a doubt, at 25 cents even. Again. It's at 25 cents again. Just my opinion, though. All right, so another moment here. And to clarify on Brad's point, I think some people take that statement where I don't think people are going to be using Bitcoin or XRP even to be buying their coffee. I think he's talking about the masses of people. I think that he understands there'll always be a niche amount of people who want to use an alternative currency, but I think he has an understanding of where this is going to be going in terms of the liquidity and depth. Who knows how currencies change over time? Maybe the US dollar becomes something completely different than what we know of it today. But you're going to have people getting provided a better payments experience, streaming payments ubiquitously, not having to think about it, just making payments. And these fiat currencies have tremendous liquidity depth. So that's why XRP is so important and so valuable, because it is not trying to replace fiat. It's trying to help facilitate. It's trying to be that tool that facilitates these fiat currencies. Faster, cheaper, more efficient, more eco-friendly process, right? Instantaneously. And of course, yes, it would then become this sovereign currency that's not independent to one country or another. And he even said it himself, first, you got to prove that you're better than fiat before you're, you know, or what was the statement that he said there, like at the end?
You can stream video from the space station. It would take 3 to 5 days to wire money to London, and the cost would be not immaterial. I was speaking with a gentleman at the World Bank not long ago, and the average remittance cost outside the G20 is 600 basis points, and that the populations can at least afford to bucks with Bitcoin or XRP anytime soon.
This is the one.
I think we got to ask ourselves, what problem is that solving? You were talking about paying for the day spa bill and how you do that, but I think in some ways, the friction. The fiat currency, the U.S. dollar in this case, works pretty well, and so we need to make sure it's better than that before we talk about it as a currency. I think.
Yeah. So what are
He kind of throws shade hardcore at Bitcoin. He's saying Bitcoin isn't solving a problem, right? Because it's a silo. It's just it's a competitor to fiat, whereas XRP is not a competitor to fiat. It helps facilitate fiat and all forms of value very quickly and efficiently, right? That's why they're called digital assets and not currencies.
Cryptocurrencies. And this is less of a legal distinction and more of a pragmatic human distinction, that I don't think we're going to be buying coffee at Starbucks with Bitcoin or XRP anytime soon. I think we got to ask ourselves, what problem is that solving? You were talking about paying for the day spa bill and how you do that. But I think in some ways, the friction, the fiat currency, the U.S. dollar in this case, works pretty well.
So it's like, if you're trying to, prevent friction and adding more friction, adding more silo currencies, more alternative currencies is adding more friction, because you're thinking about the type of choices or type of currencies you want to choose for payments. In this future, or what I guess he might be talking about, is you just want a more seamless payment experience. You're already used to using fiat. Who knows what happens with fiat? Maybe it transforms and becomes something different. But as we know of it today, it definitely is very clear that fiat is becoming more and more worthless, right? But maybe all these devaluations of currencies across the globe are to set up for a level playing field to who knows what, maybe possibly a gold standard or something else. But it would definitely allow for more seamless, less friction in payments, right? People already know how to use fiat, and if it became something different that's more accessible, perhaps limited amount, pegged to a certain standard, like it was for gold back in the day, maybe then it becomes something different in the perceptions to a lot of people, right? Lady Enigma, ho ho ho, happy holidays. Getting that crypto raise. Gonna blast off for days. All right, so let me show you guys another part of this interview that I thought was pretty interesting. All right, so yeah, let's just start here.
cheap coffee is cold?
Yes.
Cheap coffee.
So you bought cold, cheap coffee, and you had to pay a premium for it, and you had to wait until it was cold to get it. So the observation I make is Bitcoin is good for, and by the way, I am personally long Bitcoin. I'm not trying to bash Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin is not going to be a panacea that some people thought it would be for many different kinds of transactions. And instead, you're seeing specialized and kind of use case dynamics for different kinds of transactions. XRP is something we see as extremely efficient for settling payment transactions, and in particularly cross-border transactions. You're talking about over $20 trillion of cross-border transactions. And if you can reduce the average bips per transaction by 100 basis points, you're talking about massive savings that go to certainly financial institutions, but also ultimately their customers, whether it's consumers or businesses.
This is Stanford Legal, and today we're talking about blockchain technology and Ripple with our guests, Brad Garlinghouse and Joe Grunfest.
Let's get to is it a security issue? And Joe, can you explain what the issue is? Why does it matter? And who's arguing what?
Well, it matters hugely because if these instruments are actually securities, they then have to comply with all of the regulations of the United States Securities and Exchange Commission, and those are non-trivial. That would mean that you, in effect, have to register the security, which can be an expensive and time-consuming process, or you have to find an exemption from the registration requirement, and that will, as a practical matter, frequently restrict the number of people who can transact in the security or hold the security. Then there are a wide variety of aftermarket restrictions in terms of whether you could buy and sell through an exchange or through a brokerage firm or what have you, and it generally adds friction to the process. And as Brad will tell you, in a situation where you want these transactions to happen as quickly and cheaply as possible, the last thing you want is friction from any source, including the regulators.
Well,
So
why
who's-
would
sorry about that, Joe. I was just going to ask. So who's arguing that these things are securities, and why are they arguing that?
Well, number one, you've got people who have bought some of these instruments and have lost money, taking their counterparties to court and arguing that what you sold me was a security and you didn't register it as a security, and therefore I get my money back. So what you have is a group of dissatisfied purchasers arguing that their crypto was a security, should have been registered, and wasn't.
So can I just step you there for a second and ask, how did they lose money?
Huh. You would think Joe Grunfest would have just would have said right there, just to jab at Ripple. Oh, like Ripple, right? And in that description that he was saying, that if because they have lawsuits against them, right? Saying that you sold me a security, an unregistered security, right? And Joe Grunfest is literally talking about that, and some people think that's what Ripple is doing, and he doesn't say like Ripple, right? He's sitting right next to the guy. He's sitting right next to Brad Garlinghouse, talking about what a security is, and this whole segment at Stanford on Stanford Radio, Stanford Legal, whatnot, with Joe Grunfest here. This whole segment, is focused on XRP, the differentiation of what XRP is compared to Ripple. If you listen to the beginning of the segment, when they bring it in, they bring the focus onto XRP as the topic for basically the whole discussion that they have, right? And they're talking about the matter of it being a security or not, all the ins and outs of it, and you're hearing a former SEC chairman or commissioner, former SEC commissioner, not chairman, sorry. Sure, he has a firm understanding of the legalities of what Ripple is doing and what's going on with XRP, right? But anyways, let's continue on.
On the currency, is it like if you bought dollars and the dollar went down against the pound?
Precisely. Losing money in the markets is a very easy thing to do, Pam. I'm happy to show you why and how. Basically, if you buy high and sell low, you will lose money. So suppose you bought some crypto and it was $1,000, all right, per unit when you bought it, and now it's only $250. You're out $750 for every unit of crypto you bought. You turn around and you say, this crypto isn't just crypto, it's a security. You should have registered it. You didn't, therefore I want my money back.
Now that makes sense, Joe. Thank you for something like Bitcoin or XRP. How about these things that are called ICOs? There's thousands of, I think, cryptocurrencies. I don't know if you'd call those digital assets, Brad.
All right, so once again, just to highlight what he says there, because Brad was just nodding and, aggressive agreement here, so.
Dollars and the dollar went down against the pound?
Precisely. Losing money in the markets is a very easy thing to do, Pam. I'm happy to show you why and how. Basically, if you buy high and sell low, you will lose money. So suppose you bought some crypto and it was $1,000, all right, per unit when you bought it, and now it's only $250. You're out $750 for every unit of crypto you bought. You turn around and you say, this crypto isn't just crypto, it's a security. You should have registered it. You didn't, therefore I want my money back.
Right. All right, so then let's go to 1620. I guess there was something good said here.
Now, in my own technology, at some
Take the other extreme.
Sure. ICOs are at the next level of complexity. Generally, ICOs describe a system that's going to use something like blockchain technology at some point in the future to do something that isn't done now. And you most frequently pay for these ICOs by using crypto. Now, in my own personal opinion, the large majority of these ICOs are frauds or they're going to fail. So
I totally agree with that, by the way.
What is ICO?
Brad just had to jump in and say, wow, yeah, exactly. That's what I've been preaching, right? They're on the same page. These two guys are on the same page, right? This whole lawsuit's a freaking joke, man. And we're just so lucky if, I mean, everybody does what they will, but I feel like what an opportunity once again at 25 cents. Who knows if it goes lower? Who knows what's to come in this future? But it's inevitable what's going to be happening with XRP. IQ, what's up, man? How you doing? I mean, even Greg Kidd in that interview was saying this is something that is like, hasn't ever really happened. Where you have a chairman who's just about to leave, sue a company like this, in the midst of IPO season, right? And halting innovation. It's never really happened like that. He said it more eloquently and better than I did, but he was basically saying that this is uncharted territory. We don't know. This is where regulatory clarity is going to come from, guys. That's what we need here in terms of what's going on with the crypto markets. That's why when I see these pumps, I'm loving it. But I'm, and I'll try to take profits as I can and whatnot, but we're still in an unregulated environment. There's still no regulatory clarity, right? We're still in the Wild West phase, but it looks like that transition is coming, and hopefully it's this year. Can't believe Nano is at 227. Wow. Jeff, of course, man. No worries. I think there's a couple of last statements I want to check out here. So
earlier, I think there's around just short of 2,000.
Outlandish. That I'm tempted to accuse you of just making that up, Joe.
Oh, no. That actually is a fairly modest one.
Yeah, there's better ones than that.
There's way better.
Banana coins. There are all kinds of things. And to your number earlier, I think there's around just short of 2,000 ICOs that have happened. And I agree with Joe.
Brad,
most of them.
My favorite. This one is so meta. It's hilarious. It's called the Useless Ethereum Token. All right? UE token. I recommend everybody go online.
See, you see him saying most of these are fraud. The other guy is saying, Joe Grunfest is saying most of them are fraud. And yet we haven't seen that fraud be accounted for in the markets. We've seen it at a very small scale, but if they're saying 99% of cryptos are going to go away, that's going to be about maybe 30 coins, 50 to 30 coins that end up surviving, right? And we're not seeing that. We're not seeing that at all, but you see all these guys saying about how a majority of them are going to go away. So something's got to give, right? XLM in the top 10, yeah, hell yeah, man. I was great, dude. I couldn't go to sleep last night. I was like, go XLM, go. Hard to sleep when you're seeing a coin jumping past cents very quickly and easily. That was nice to see. All right, so yeah.
This is a white paper where it describes a useless Ethereum token, and whoever the person is that put this together openly says, the token you're buying is useless. I am going to take the money that you send me, and I'm going to buy large electronics, maybe recreational drugs or what have you, but you will get nothing in value. And what's fascinating about this site is you could argue it's not a fraud.
Right. They're doing exactly what they said they were going to do.
And he's raised more than $300,000. This is great.
Well, we'll be back with more from our guests, Joe Grunfest and Brad Garlinghouse, talking about blockchain and Ripple next on Stanford Legal on Sirius XM Insight 121.
All right. So going back, so here's another statement. I think this is the last one I want to highlight here from this video.
Tried to outdo you with an even more absurd offering. How many of these have been sold? Who's buying them?
So in calendar year 2017, there was about $3 billion raised through ICOs. I would have guessed that would slow down in 2018 as regulators like the SEC interjected and more proactively called out frauds and scams and, you know, from my opinion, what these actually are. And in many cases,
Joe Grunfest, both of them nodding in agreement, right? Nothing to see here, right? Joe Grunfest doesn't look like he thinks Ripple is a scam, right, or a fraud.
in fact, I think they are securities and should be regulated that way. This year, in 2018, year to date, you've already had $10 billion raised through ICOs. So it's actually increased a lot. And I don't see it slowing down anytime real soon, in part because I think we haven't seen as many regulators get as aggressive as I think they probably should in regulating what is a little bit of a chaotic market.
Yeah, I'm with Brad entirely. I was
former SEC commissioner here, you guys. Former SEC commissioner. Check this out.
In regulating what is a little bit of a chaotic market.
Yeah, I'm with Brad entirely. I was quoted in the with Brad entirely.
Bit of a chaotic market.
Yeah, I'm with Brad entirely.
Bit of a chaotic market.
Yeah, I'm with Brad entirely.
SEC commissioner, I'm with Brad entirely. Once again, what he said
like
here.
Offering. How many of these have been sold? Who's buying them?
So in calendar year 2017, there was about $3 billion raised through ICOs. I would have guessed that would slow down in 2018 as regulators like the SEC interjected and more proactively called out frauds and scams and, you know, from my opinion, what these actually are. And in many cases, in fact, I think they are securities and should be regulated that way. This year, in 2018, year to date, you've already had $10 billion raised through ICOs. So it's actually increased a lot. And I don't see it slowing down anytime real soon, in part because I think we haven't seen as many regulators get as aggressive as I think they probably should in regulating what is a little bit of a chaotic market.
Yeah, I'm with Brad entirely. I was quoted in the New York Times a while ago as saying these ICOs are the most open and notorious violation of the federal securities laws since the Code of Hammurabi.
See, these ICOs are a bigger threat and violation of the federal securities laws than, he's not saying Ripple, he's not saying XRP.
And why the SEC hasn't been more active, they've only brought 7 actions to this point.
Both of them surprised SEC hasn't been more active in this whole case. I'm assuming they're going to be very active after this Ripple case or whatever goes down in 2021 and beyond.
Is a mystery that I can't explain.
Well, one of the things is, you know, if you try to think about this, these are people who presumably if they could have raised the money for their enterprise with just getting people to send them dollar bills or checks, they would have done that. And yet instead, they're saying to people, I want you to invest in my enterprise, whatever it is, by sending me a cryptocurrency. Which raises the question, like, why are they asking for the payments in cryptocurrencies rather than in dollars that are easy to go and spend anywhere? And Joe, you have a kind of hypothesis on this.
Oh, Pam, really? I mean, look, if you're going to be conducting a fraud, all right, you know, what do you want people to do? All right, send you small unmarked bills, you know, send you a check, or would you rather have Bitcoin go to Mikhail Mikhailovich in Minsk?
Well, I understand.
Where when it fails, you're not going to get it back.
Well, but you're not going to get the dollars back either. I mean, a check may be a credit card.
All right, so yeah, this is a good video. I'll drop this link in the chat if it goes through, hopefully. But anyways, guys, thank you guys for tuning in. So, I mean, this video was really insightful, and It's Brad sitting across from a former SEC commissioner, legitimately focused on XRP and talking about differences of what are considered frauds or should be considered frauds from the SEC. Both of them surprised about, you know, how inactive SEC really has been in terms of regulating cryptocurrencies. I know there's a bunch of jokes you can make in terms of them with the lawsuit towards Ripple, but taking it seriously is seeing how this could play out with Ripple and the lawsuit is going to have an effect on the crypto market and how they get regulated, right? Because the more regulations, especially with one of the biggest cryptos in the space, if you're able to find regulatory clarity, that's why people keep saying it'll be like the Ripple test from that there on all these other cryptos, right? So we'll end up seeing how this ends up playing out. Yeah, cool, awesome. I'm happy you guys got the link. I mean, shout out to Bank XRP, he's awesome. But anyways, guys, thanks for the 24 likes. Thanks to the 15 viewers. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. A little overview of what we went over in this video. Regulation will only boost mass institutional buying and selling. BitPay COO says. Give me one sec. There we go. IGT gets regulatory approval to use Bitcoin and cryptos at slot machines. Bitcoin PayPal volumes crossed $100 million. Iranian authorities closed 1,600 illegal cryptocurrency mining farms. Of course, we were looking at some of the prices going on with Pearl, Nano doing their thing. Pearl's already going towards 3 cents. We knew about Pearl when it was under a penny. Checking out. I mean, right now it's a nice big wave of green. We had VeChain across 3 cents for a bit. Zilliqa is killing it, getting closer and closer to 10 cents. Solana above $2. Cody above 5 cents. I mean, good times ahead. Who knows? You know, some people might be taking profits at this point from this pump. We'll see how this ends up playing out, but I guess we can thank Bitcoin for breaking its all-time highs, creating new all-time highs, and sprinkling a little bit of love down to these alts, right? Because that's probably what's going down, most likely. Abe, what's up, dude? We're about to tune out here. Guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Shout out to the Blue Crew. Shout out to everybody here. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys later. Thank you, BTC community, XRP community, Ethereum community, XLM community, ADA community, AGI community, Cody community, Solana community, crypto community, DLT community, all the communities out there. You guys are amazing. Thank you guys so much for the support on this channel. Appreciate y'all. The future is distributed ledger technology, and the future is bright. Alrighty, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.